I think my eyes were like here. I'm just like, anyway.
Oh my gosh.
And I started seeing like Smurf dancing all around me and they were attacking me. Anyway, it was awful. They weren't Smurfs, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Let's go.
Hi guys, welcome back to Give It To Me Straight, the talk show where you can't clock the lace. I'm your host, Maddy Morphosis, and joining me on the show today is fellow bald icon, all the way from season 1 of RuPaul's Drag Race, Ongina.
Hi.
Hello, welcome.
I can't stop laughing because I feel like I'm looking at myself from in the mirror from season 1.
Like an Anglo-Saxon version of
Yeah,
yourself.
exactly.
Yeah.
What's Anglo-Saxon?
Another word for like Caucasian. It's kind of like white
Got it.
people, Europe.
Okay.
You know, tracing it back. Yeah.
Okay. We're starting with big words this morning.
Yeah, I was just trying to get a little fancy with it. Yeah, well, we were talking about season 1 and like this look. This is what you might have looked like if it wasn't for like the heavy filters. So people want
Yeah.
to know what you looked like in HD. The filters were crazy that time.
Yeah.
Like this is a screenshot from RuPaul that season, and that's not even Photoshop. That's an actual screen grab.
Well, that's hilarious because you can't even make out her face.
No,
Because it was so heavily filtered.
you just got the energy. Like you can tell it felt like RuPaul, but we can't verify. We can't know
No.
for sure if RuPaul was actually on
This is
season
like
1.
an aura. This is like an aura.
Yeah, it looks like an aura. It looks like the ghost of Christmas past.
Yes.
But, you know, it was iconic in its own way, though.
It is. I really have to thank the filter for season 1 for making me look somewhat of a drag queen and a little softer than what you may see if it was like now and you know HD. That would be scary.
I will say, though, like, compared to a lot of queens, especially, like, queens of that era, there was never a time where you looked super crunchy, you know? Like, I think a lot of those girls needed that filter. I don't think you were actually one of the ones that needed it. I think
Wait, who were crunchy?
I mean, yeah,
Just a few.
Beauty is subjective. I don't, you know, but it's safe to say that you definitely weren't one of the queens that needed that heavy filter.
Okay, I think, you know, in my past, I probably have some black male materials like photos and stuff that I would say that I was definitely crunchy. I mean, I think I tried not to be because I was so excited to be a drag queen. So a lot of like what Ongina was taken from like the New York City nightlife culture that I was like sort of involved in at the time. But then I was always trying to make sure I looked soft enough like a female because I also at the time was like confused about where I like identified. So it was like a mixture of like 80 different things trying to be like Ongina. And then obviously I found who that was and who that is, and it's what you see now, I guess.
Yeah. How would you say you identify nowadays, like after working through everything?
I'm definitely identify as a gay man, like pronouns he, him. But there was a time in my life where I really thought that maybe I identify as a trans woman. I think part of that is because I was surrounded with so many beautiful women when I used to work at Lucky Chang's in New York City, and then some of my friends, etc. And then I always felt like because I'm so small and short and really, really quite feminine, I thought in my mind, I thought maybe it'll be better if I was a girl, but I do love being a guy. So it's always like, and I think that's where like drag sort of helps because I can let out like the feminine side of me, but I don't think that I am actually a trans woman. I'm just a drag performer.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like this confusing spectrum for me because like for the longest time, you know, I'm much older than you are. But for like the longest time trying to identify like who and what, you know, like who I am. But even now trying to answer this question, yeah, no, I strongly identify as a gay male, but the persona of Ongina sort of helps like that little feminine inside that's trying to like come out, I guess.
Yeah. So like around the time of like you were on Drag Race, where were you at like during that journey? Like when did you start to feel more comfortable and established as your guy self?
Wait, what's the question?
So whatever you went on like Drag Race, like where were you at that time during your journey?
During Drag Race. So, I guess that journey of questioning my identity was when I was still living in New York City, and then when I moved to Los Angeles in 2007, I actually like packed up my drag and was like, oh, I'm never doing not that I was never doing it again. I was just like, oh, I think it's time to like put it aside and focus on my boy self and my boy job. And that's essentially why I moved to LA anyway, is because I had this career and it was expanding, and I also wanted to get away from like the New York City nightlife that was really, really wild at the time. And I needed some sort of like self-centering, and like I need a little bit of like figuring out like who I am as a person, and LA really helped that. So taking a break from drag sort of helped me like become a little bit more confident in knowing that I truly I truly identify as a gay male, as a gay little Asian boy. But then, I packed up my drag and said I'm not gonna do it anymore. And then New Year's that year, I went out, and then I brought Ongina back out, and then it's so wild because like literally within 4 months? No, because we filmed in August. So within like 6 months, I got casted on Drag Race. So the journey was like really fast, but
You've teetered around with like quitting drag a few times, which we'll kind of talk about. But yeah,
Okay.
it's always been like a will she, won't she kind of storyline.
The thing is like quitting is so, what's the word? Final, right? Like it's not ever really quitting. I mean, I guess I put it out there where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna quit. But it's really more like taking a step back because I have this other career that I also equally love. So it's like, okay, which one do I do, and which one can financially like set me free, at the time in my life, et cetera, et cetera. And that's kind of where I am now. That's why I'm off Gina today.
Yeah.
I've had a hell of a 2 weeks, but middle of last year, I like posted I was gonna take a step back. But then I think a lot of people think step back is like quitting. I mean, I still do shows. I do shows as often as I can. And I don't think I can ever quit drag. I think that's impossible. I don't know. Maybe when I'm like 80.
Yeah, it's like Ongina is too baked in at this point.
Yeah, it's like part of...
You can't pull the walnuts out of the banana bread. They're already in there,
I don't know what that's saying. Oh, you mean because you bake it?
Yeah, you bake it.
So
it's already baked
there?
in. Yeah, you can't just like go take it all out.
Okay.
Drag is one of those things. I don't think any drag queen in history has ever quit drag.
No, and a lot of like it's like a share.
Yeah.
It's like a share. I'm gonna quit, and then she's like up on stage again.
Yeah, like for another farewell tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like every drag queen that says they're gonna quit, they always like find their way back, or they find like little moments or something. Even like Lala Ree, I had Lala Ree on the couch, and she did a whole thing basically telling everyone, announcing that she was quitting drag to focus on other endeavors. And like 2 months later, she shows up on some news publication about how I'm coming back into drag. It's like it wasn't even a year.
Yeah.
It wasn't even half a year.
I don't know. There's just like, I think most people that do drag and then sort of like take a step back or like focus on something else go back to it because for me, it's for the love truly of drag. I mean, I've been doing drag since, God, I don't even remember. Like I first went out in drag in like 2001. Were you born?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how young you are, but you're definitely young.
I was in first grade, thank you.
But so it's like part of me, and it's just I love it too much to like completely just get rid of it. And it's fun. Like I love the stage. I love performing. I love hosting. I love collecting dirty moist ones. Like it's all it's all one package that I love so much.
Like you think you're out of the game, and then you walk into a dressing room and you smell that Frito smell on the wind of dirty tights, and you're like, God, I miss it. Yeah.
Oh my God, I have some I have some stories about some really smelly tights. I mean, not mine. I wash my drag. Right. Please wash your drag. Yeah. But there's some.
I was that you walked in today. You smelled very nice.
Thank you.
You have a presence about you, even as off China.
Thank you. I'm wearing a brand of cologne that I cannot pronounce, but it smells very nice. And it's one of my favorites.
Is it like French or is it just like more than 3 syllables?
It's like Wilhelm something. I should know this. So anyway, I should know this because we sell it at my store.
If you go to Ongina store, look for
I wish it was Ongina store. Somebody else owns it, but I
Yeah,
just work there.
right, yeah. But like
Yeah.
if you go into the store and you find a fragrance that seems somewhat difficult to pronounce, that's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah. But talking about your career, no shade to like a lot of the other Rue girls, but you're one of the few Rue girls that actually has like an established career outside of, just doing drag. Whenever you got like on the show, did you not have plans to focus fully on drag? Was like your established career always going to be the main focus?
Yeah, me being a visual merchandising manager was always going to be my path, my career path. So when season 1 happened, I was working for a company, similar aesthetic, like luxury boutique, multi-vendor. I was doing visual merchandising, and they when I moved to LA, the company actually moved me to do the expansion because we were opening stores all over the Southern California region. And so I always did drag on the side after I got casted because remember, I moved to LA, put away drag, did drag 6 months later, went out, casting was happening. So all these people were like harassing drag queens all over Southern California, asking if they would turn in a tape for this new show. I kept saying no. I kept saying no because my focus was visual merchandising. And then one of my friends was like, just do it. If they say no, your life won't change. If they say yes, then maybe it will. So then I said yes, and then I got casted, which was truly still amazing to this day. And then when I got off the show, bookings weren't really as lucrative. You couldn't really live off of being drag. And I wasn't smart enough to be a businessman about it and say, okay, I have this platform. Maybe I can do YouTube. Maybe I could be. I mean, at the time, influencers wasn't even a thing. So I was like, maybe I could be an influencer, or maybe I can like expand on the brand of Ongina. But I was like, no, I have this like really nice job and career with visual merchandising. Why would I like take a chance to be an artist? Because taking a chance to be an artist is a big chance.
Yeah. Especially whenever you already have a very established career.
Yes, and I liked my benefits. I liked my 401k. I liked my salary. Everything was great.
Yeah.
But then fast forward to 2000 and I want to say 17. Then fast forward to like 2000 and something when they were doing All Stars 1. And then they're like, do you want to do it? But at the time, I was still working for the same company, but my role was expanding. I was overseeing like multiple stores at this time. And then at that time when they wanted to film, I was also opening like 3 stores. And they're like, well, you have to make a choice. Do you want to be a full-time drag queen or do you want to be a full-time visual merchandiser? And I said no to All Stars, thankfully. And then...
Why do you say thankfully?
Because it was a mess. Like, I probably would have picked to be in a group with either Nina or Tammy because I love them both. And I love Tammy so much. She literally came over one time for dinner and she was in full drag. And I was like, why are you in drag? And she's like, I like to eat like a lady. Anyway, another story for another time. But, so I said no to All Stars. And then fast forward again, like a few years later, they asked me for All Stars 3. But as an alternate. But as an alternate, you still have to like get ready and spend money. But there's a chance that they'll call you like 48 hours before you have to go and tell you that you're actually not going, which is what happened to me.
You had just bought a wig finally too, and you had to put it back in the suitcase.
Finally,
pack it up,
it was all
return it
styled.
to Amazon.
Yeah, I think. What was the wig maker? Who's the wig maker? Wigs and Grays. I had bought a wig from them. I think it was Wigs and Grays. But anyway, I had bought a fancy wig. And for me, a fancy wig is a fancy wig. Okay, a fancy wig for me is like out of the bag too. Anyway, yeah, I finally bought a wig and I was like, I'm ready to go. And then like 48 hours later, they were like, oh, sorry, you're not going. Thank you for being an alternate. And I was like, I cried. I actually was very sad because I wanted it so bad.
Yeah.
But then because that happened, the rumor mills were like very good to me. And so I was getting bookings like left and right because people thought I was on All Stars 3. So I met my manager at the time, Michael Benedetti, and he was like, you should try to be a full-time drag queen. I was like, no, it's too hard. You know, being a drag queen's hard, you guys. You know, whoever does drag knows. You know, I mean, you barely do drag, but you know.
I'm dressed as you today.
Yeah, that's true. This is drag.
Trying to read me and I'm dressed as you.
It's amazing. It truly is. Thank you for the homage.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. But yeah, so anyway, I finally, in 2017, I was like, okay, I'm going to try this drag thing full time. I got an LLC, I got an accountant, I got a payroll department. Like I did the whole thing so I wouldn't go to jail because, you know, pay your taxes. And then last year, things got a bit soft and I got really worried. And then there was this opportunity to work for this company to be the director of visual merchandising. And I said, yeah. So I'm really lucky. Very long story, but I'm really lucky to be able to say I can do drag full time or I can do this full time because it's scary out there.
Yeah. Especially now with there being so many girls. What do you think the path forward is for girls that are getting on these newer seasons? Like if you had to give advice
Oh my
to
God.
the girls getting on the show now.
I mean, thankfully, the show is still very popular. And the great thing about being in new seasons is that they want to see you. So I would milk that year that you have and work as much as you can if you are one of the likable ones. Work as much as you can. And honestly, people say this and it's cliche, but like you have to save some of your money. Because you'll find yourself a year into it or 2 years later where you're like trying to figure out what to do. And then the second part of that is like, don't be and not work your local gigs that you used to work before you got on Drag Race. Because that could be also your savior for when you need a job. And because I wouldn't be as financially successful if I didn't have like the show directors in Los Angeles or Southern California that continued to book me even after Drag Race. And I think some people tend to walk away from that because they think that the grass is greener on the other side, and then come to find out that grass, you know, dies and then has to come back, and then, you know, their relationship is somewhat tarnished when they're like, they ignore the show directors locally. So those are probably my two things, like milk your year, save your money, and then, but keep your relationships with show directors that you have often worked for or with. And then the third part is if you are working and you're really busy, try to be nice. Like, you know what I mean? It's really easy to develop these relationships with show directors and like promoters that you work with and like be professional and be nice. And I know that's really, really rough because we work like wild hours, but like be professional, be nice, be on time, don't be a like, and then maybe you'll get repeat bookings. And that's also part of like my success for the few years that I did drag full time. I could call up somebody and be like, hey, I haven't seen you in a year. Do you want to, you know, do you want to book Ongina again? And the answer is usually always yes. Usually.
Usually. Except for the ones where you get a little too belligerent.
No, I don't even do that.
The advice you're giving is the advice you're giving to your past self.
To my past
your
self.
wild behavior.
Yeah. I was so wild. No, I tend to be tame unless you have proof of me being wild. I hope not.
We'll get into it. We'll pull up the videos and stuff. Don't worry about it.
This is one of the things that I was so excited about, but also so nervous about because you pull some shit.
I don't get too buck wild though, you know.
I know, but
no one's been canceled on the show yet.
But thankfully, they're like factual information. It's not like you're creating lies about these people. Like the facts that you pull.
Yeah.
But they're
like,
hilarious.
And most of the stuff that comes up on the show, the guest just like goes on a tangent and like says their own stuff. So
that's true.
You know,
that's true.
I'm just a good listener.
You are a good listener.
That's all it is.
And you're also a hilarious host.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
I enjoy the show very much.
This is what it's all about, just getting buttered up. Thank you. I needed this.
Okay. Well, you're dressed as me, so I have to tell you, you look
that's
great.
Why.
You
that's
look
why.
great.
You've never looked better. You should be bald more often.
Speaking of which, I really liked your what do they call? I don't know why the English words always escape
Like the
me, but
promo look.
thank you, the promo look. I really enjoyed that.
The reasoning for being bald was just whenever I sketched the outfit, I didn't have hair drawn on. I was like, I kind of look like the way it looks bald, and everyone else is gonna be wearing a wig. Because I
Yeah.
wasn't even bald at that time.
But now you're balding.
No, no, I'm just bald. Thank you. Get it right. I was balding on the show and was in denial about it.
All right.
But whenever I posted that look, because I was all pink and bald, I think it was Lady Bunny that shared it and or commented on it and said it looks like Ongina with a peanut allergy.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, that
Okay.
was the first association that was given towards you. But yeah, Ongina with a peanut allergy. Thank you, Lady Bunny.
Every time I see a bald queen, I just get so happy. I didn't invent it, like
No.
obviously. I mean, but for reference, for like drag race reference, I was the first one with Nina. So Nina,
Yeah,
I mean,
I was about
because
to
Nina was
say,
bald too,
yeah.
ish.
Well, yeah, she like had like maybe like little toppers and things like that.
Yeah.
But as much of a pioneer for bald queens that you are, Nina did walk in the workroom first.
She
Unfortunately,
did. She
yeah, she
did.
was I think the second or third in the room, and you were shortly after. But whenever you did walk in the workroom and you saw like another bald queen, were you excited like a fellow bald, or were you like, damn it, I was gonna be the bald queen?
No, I had actually never crossed my mind. But one of the things that I have always said and about my season when I first walked in, because it was Rebecca, Nina, and Chanel were already the three there, and then I come in and I'm literally looking around and I was like, are these the fucking hosts? Like, because they look so good. I didn't know they were my competitors. And then it resonated to me that they were my competitors. And then I was really nervous because, I mean, you saw. I walked in there like, didn't know a thing or two about drag.
Most of that first season, and even some of the other early seasons too, a lot of girls are wearing mall drag. Rebecca Glasscock coming in jeans and a t-shirt.
Mall drag.
Yeah, it was, and that's what it was at the time.
Wait,
it's a lot of
actually,
Santee Alley. And
yeah.
that's okay. I wish it would go back to that.
It has gotten to a place where like you literally have to take out a loan to be able to afford to go.
Yeah, these girls that are going on the show, they're working jobs at the mall, or they're working at Walmart, and then you have to go to Drag Race and be a high fashion model.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
stop it.
It's truly wild. I mean, like you were season
14.
14. Okay.
It's all a blur.
It's okay. It's all a blur. But whenever I host shows and I have different like girls come into town and I don't know their season, I always just say, from her very season of RuPaul's Drag Race, give it up for Maddy. But anyway, you must have spent a lot of money too, because like that's is much later season, and I feel like the more seasons that happen and the runway criterias get sent, the more like pressure it is. Like, did you feel a lot of pressure?
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew I wasn't gonna like win or anything.
No,
And
I know, but like,
I took as much as I could scrape together, like a few thousand.
no, you had some good ones.
Yeah, but I mean, like a lot of it was just like, how can I do this on the cheap? What can I do? A lot, like half my package, I only was able to afford because I got in a fender bender, and the insurance money. Instead of fixing my car, I used it to buy a few more outfits. Because I was like, I need something for this show.
Isn't it lovely how the universe works?
Yeah.
You get an offender vendor, you
Yeah.
get casted on Drag Race, you needed the money, you bought more outfits.
Yeah, but then like I didn't even get to wear the outfits that I bought with that money. So but,
Do you still have any of those outfits?
yeah, like I had a dress made of mirrors. I had a giant tutu outfit. My best looks are the ones I didn't get to wear.
No.
Yeah.
Did you ever do photo shoots with them?
Yeah, of course.
No, okay.
Yeah, I gotta do something.
No, you do. You have to. And because when All Stars 3 didn't happen for me, but I had all the looks, I did a photo shoot. And then I got like in trouble. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say I got in trouble. Like somebody from World of Wonder like texted me and was like, "Are these your All Stars 3 outfits that you're posting?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "You can't do that." And I go, "Why? I bought them. Like they're mine.
Your outfits.
I'm not using them." I think it's because they were so specifically themed, right? But then I was taking photos of them because I had a collaboration with a company, and that company was donating parts of the proceeds to what we would sell to HIV and AIDS. So it's like, no, I shouldn't get in trouble for this. Like, anyway, it was. I was like, what the.
You made me buy these outfits. Like I need to do something with it.
Yes, and then I was like, and I'm not saying like, oh, runway, 4.
Yeah.
This look from All Stars 3, I don't get to use because I was not chosen because I was an alternate. Like, no, I didn't. Obviously, I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a text and they were like, you can't do that. And I was like, okay, well, I already did it. Like,
Yeah.
what do you want me, like, you want me to retract? Oh, just kidding. Like, we're not doing this, promotion anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was shitty.
Yeah, no, like, I spent money on these outfits. Like I'm wearing them. I gotta get some
Yeah.
recognition, some acknowledgement for it.
Yeah.
The only ones I didn't post are the ones that were like really cheap, shoddy ones that I'm like glad I didn't last long enough to wear. But like at the time, like for Drag Race, whenever they told you about the show and they're like, "Oh, get some looks together. We're doing this show." Like, what was the blueprint you were given? What
Wait.
did you expect?
I'm gonna send you. I think I can send you. It's been like 20 years. There is this list of like what to bring. Well, first there was like a 2-page contract. Now it's a 37-page
that,
contract.
yeah.
So there was like a 2-page contract, and then on the bottom of the second page, there's like a list, and it was like maybe a dozen things, and it says bring these looks. And the first one I think is like best drag, and the next one is like cowboy outfit or like dancing outfit, whatever. But there was like literally, it was just bullet pointed on the bottom of the page. There was like no description. Now you get like the outfits is like 5 pages because you have the theme, the descriptions of what they want to see,
Yeah.
and then the next theme, and then so you get like 3 to 5 pages of like the runway looks, where the expectations for season 1 was a lot less than what it is now. Probably because obviously it was a pilot season, but also like kind of the experimental season where they can maneuver from.
Yeah.
So if they have some experience with season 1, then they can develop the seasons better on a production level because they have hours to be like the example.
Yeah. Well, whenever you went on the show, because like a lot of girls, they just like send the list to designers and have them make stuff for them. But with you, it was really kind of like what you pieced together. Did you really kind of amp up your drag for the show, or what you brought to the show is just what you were wearing?
Yeah, what I brought to the show was the things that I had in my closet. Plus, probably I went to like Wet Seal and bought a few other things.
Literal mall drag. Yeah.
Literally, and then I went to MAC because I like it was like that's the makeup that I was always using, and yeah, I went to the mall and I said, okay, I need a few more things. Like they want cowboys, so maybe I need to get some cowboy boots, but most of it was things in my closet. Like those runway looks. I mean, most of the runway looks was like best drag, right?
Yeah.
So like this little outfit that you're wearing with the feathers, like the corset top I made, and then the skirt I borrowed from a coworker that she made. So yeah, it was basically like what you had in your closet. Maybe you went to the mall and grabbed a few things, but there was no designers. Like there was no calling like all of these amazing, talented people and be like, okay, my budget is $6,700 and I need look 1. Like there was none of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish it would go back to that. It was more real.
Really?
It felt more raw. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
It's more like this girl came from the middle of nowhere. This is what she had. This is what you see. If you go to this show in this town she's from, this is what you're gonna see.
Yeah, very
now it's
true.
Like the girls now, the outfits they're bringing, they're wearing the same outfits made by the same people that make stuff for, Beyonce, Sabrina Carpenter, like these big pop stars.
Yeah.
They make stuff for drag queens too, and it's like that's not what they're doing at the gigs.
It's not. And I think now when we talk about Drag Race and the audience, and then these people that don't know old school drag come, and then we're wearing something that's like not what they saw on TV or whatever, and then they're like, oh. And it's like, don't judge the show based off of what you're seeing on television because that's television. And then what you see at your local drag, you're expecting them to wear a $10,000 gown? Like, no, that's not how it is.
Like she's getting paid $50 to be here. She's not wearing a $10,000 gown.
I have gotten paid $50 to be there. So yeah, it was really rough at the time, but you make the best of it because that's what drag was about. Like you go to the thrift store. I went to the thrift store actually for Drag Race season 1 too. You went to the thrift store, you went and phoned in a friend and be like, hey, what do you have in your closet, etc. And then you went to the mall and like grabbed a few things, and that's what the entire package was, where I probably spent like $200 on season 1 and like $20,000 on All Stars 3 alternate. You know what I mean? It's like, we're not even gonna talk about how much I spent on All Stars 5 because that's stupid. Anyway.
We all know spring comes with more than just flowers.
It comes with sneezing, itchy eyes, and non-stop congestion. But why suffer when relief is just a click away? ZOCDOC has you covered. Whether you need a nearby allergist, a PCP for an initial checkup, a pediatrician for your little ones, or a telehealth option for quick care, ZOCDOC can help you get allergy relief fast so you can beat sneezing season and make spring a little less sniffly. ZOCDOC is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 100,000 doctors across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, primary care to urgent care, and more. You can filter for doctors who take your insurance, are located nearby, are a good fit for any medical needs you may have, and are highly rated by verified patients. Once you find the right doctor, you can see their actual appointment openings, choose a time slot that works for you, and click to instantly book a visit. Appointments made through ZOCDOC also happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. This is a really great option for me too, because I'm someone who, at the age of 30, just got health insurance for the first time, and I don't really know which doctors take my insurance. So rather than going to a doctor and finding out at the appointment that they don't take my insurance, I can search beforehand to find a doctor that does. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/straight to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/STRAIGHT. ZocDoc.com/straight. So, but whenever you go on the show, like I said, you are a pioneer for the bald queens, because there hasn't been very many. Like, there are a lot of queens that are bald in their day-to-day, but as far as, like, just being bald in drag, it's like you, Nina Flowers, oh my God, she won. What's her name?
Sasha Velour.
Sasha Velour. I don't know why I blanked on that. But yeah, so it's like you, Nina Flowers, Sasha Velour.
Princess.
And
Yes. And then I guess Bob does bald drag, but sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not counting queens that like it's like 50-50. Once they're like primarily bald queens, there's not very many of them.
When I saw Sasha Velour, and she's so great. I just was like, I think this is the drag I was thinking I could I could be, because it was so polished and it was so good, and obviously she won. The rose petals were iconic and like all that good stuff. And then her shows, I don't know if you've seen any, like her, one woman show, but they truly are like so curated to a T. And I think if I look back as young Ongina, that's probably like, where I wanted my drag to go. I'm happy with where I went with it. But the artistic representation, like the artistic way that Sasha Velour does it, is just like truly incredible. And and back to like me being bald, part of the reason why I did that is because I befriended a millionaire. How do you say the word millionaire? A hat maker. A hat maker. It's a millionaire, I think. Anyway, yeah. A hat maker. His name is David Mason. He's now well known for Slick It Up, which is a fetish like e-commerce. You could buy clothes or whatever. But he was making these incredible hats, and I met him through a friend of mine, Sean, and we all went out together one day, and I was like, can I borrow some of these? And then I just started super gluing all that shit to my head and going out, because it became like this canvas where I would dress the way that I saw fit, and then I would have a headpiece that sort of like matched it from David Mason, and it just became the whole Ongina persona. And honestly, I love it. Like, that sounds conceited that you love your own drag self.
No, you should.
No, I love Ongina.
Yeah, you should.
I really do.
But like, even if Sasha Velour is kind of like a in goal where you kind of wished you would have taken it, it's queens like you that were kind of the blueprint for stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're the blueprint for a lot of queens, like people like bald queens like Sasha Velour, or queens with black hair and a blonde streak like Manila Luzon. So you did it first. See, Manila thinks she's like the original Filipino queen with a black hair and a blonde streak, but it was you.
It's so funny because I don't have much hair now anymore. It's gotten lost.
When did you finally accept that you had to let it go?
Like, I'm truly bald?
Yeah.
Like, well, I didn't actually, I can't, I know what's coming up next. I hate you so much.
What?
I'm just saying, I can't fully let it go because just last year, I bought myself a full lace, not wig, but Like
Like a toupee kind
yeah.
of thing.
Do you have that? Is
No,
it coming?
no, I didn't have that on me. I didn't.
You're lying.
No, I must have missed it. I didn't realize
Okay.
you started wearing little
But yeah,
toupees.
so that mask was actually also done by David Mason. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can. I don't think I'm gonna send you a video of how much I love the toupee that I had last
Mm-hmm.
year. And it just like made me a different person. Like I was letting the wind flow through the like every follicle of that fake weave that I had. And
It's
it
just
was
like flapping in the front.
no, it was thankfully the glue was really strong
Yeah.
that it never flapped in the front. But yeah, it was amazing. It's very normal now for like people that are
Mm-hmm.
balding to either go to Turkey and get their hair done
Yeah.
or get these little toupees that are like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, really easy to to apply
Mm-hmm.
and I loved it. But no, I don't think I'm still there. I don't think I'm there yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Not
I
yet.
still hope that one day I can still grow out my hair, but
Yeah.
it's
You have a good head for a bald though.
I do, I
Yeah.
think,
It's not like
yeah.
misshapen or anything.
So do you actually.
Thank you.
There's some that I'm like, ugh.
That's like the scariest thing. I think whenever you finally accept that the hair is not coming back,
I
you got to
know.
let it go. The scary part is then shaving. And it's like, what is my head gonna look like? Am I
Yeah.
gonna have like weird wrinkles? Is it gonna be pointy at the top like a cone head? Like, what's it gonna
Yeah.
look like?
One of the things that I was discussing with my friend in New York because he's also bald is like how do you keep your scalp so hydrated? And I was like, I still condition. And I don't have hair, but I still put conditioner on my head
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like I think mentally I think it's moisturizing it while I'm like loofing I can't even say the word while I'm washing my body.
Yeah.
Conditioner is there like moisturizing my scalp.
Mm-hmm.
And then I lotion it because I feel like it's part of
Yeah.
your face, right? Like, I don't know.
If anything, it's like easier to take care of once you get rid of the hair. You don't have to worry about like
It is.
dandruff and moisturizing your hair and conditioning. Like you just put like a little, say like rub a little conditioner on the top.
Yeah.
Saves you a lot of money on like shampoo and stuff.
Yeah,
Just like a little dime size
it
amount.
does. I
Whenever
still,
whenever you wash your face like face wash, when do you stop?
what do you mean?
Where does the hair like when you go to like shampoo conditioner and when is it face for you?
Oh no, so my face wash I use for my entire
Oh, you face wash
my
the whole
head.
head.
And then I condition the top of my head
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like it moisturizes my scalp. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I know conditioners is for hair, but I don't know. I just feel like it does. Then I wash my
You're
body.
checking out with conditioner at the store and the lady's
then
looking
they're
at you
like,
all funny like
yeah, why? And then I wash and then I rinse everything and then yeah, and then my face moisturizer, I also use it from my head.
it's all
Is
around.
that not bald people?
I don't
Will
know.
you comment and see if you do
Like
this too?
I don't know. Maybe we're all different. Like for me, like I do like face wash here, but I still treat the scalp like it's hair because there's still hair there, you know.
So
like
you
the
shampoo.
yeah, because I think the skin is like different. I think.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
All right.
Fellow balds in the comments if you can educate us.
Please.
Now you finding out at your age now that you've been doing it wrong the whole time.
Yeah, maybe.
But I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're doing it right. You're aging very well. So
I'm Asian very well?
aging.
Oh, okay.
You are Asian very well too. You pull it off phenomenally.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like to hope so.
Speaking of Asianing, you actually grew up in the Philippines.
Yes, I grew up in the Philippines.
Yeah.
I came to the US when I was 12.
Yeah. What was the reason for coming to the U.S.?
The main focus was so that we could get a better life coming to the United States because that's kind of like the big idea. Like, leave the Philippines, go to Australia, Canada, Europe, America, get a better life, then be able to provide for your family back home who can't get a visa
Yeah.
to come here.
Yeah. My partner, she's half Filipino, first generation, and because her mom came here, and it's the same thing where they send stuff back. And,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, what's the name of the boxes you send?
Balikbayan.
Balikbayan. Yeah, we
Yeah.
sent one of those to like her family recently.
Wait, she's half Filipino first generation? Ah, okay. Yeah, so you know. Have you seen her pack up a balikbayan
Yeah, I helped
box?
her. We bought some stuff. Went to
Really?
the store. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible because it's necessities that they need, obviously. Like, I'll go to Costco and buy them like canned
Yeah.
goods and like rice, etc. But then you'll get a text and be like, "Can I get some Nikes too?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "Sure. What kind of Nikes
Yeah.
do you want?"
We got like random snacks, and we also
Yeah.
shoved in like some like little dog slippers for like
Yeah.
her aunt and stuff.
And now it's even like, oh, do you have an old iPhone you can send me? Because it's really expensive over there when you start thinking about the dollar for, you know, the materials that you want to use, and sometimes it's just not attainable.
Yeah. So how was your childhood different, like your early childhood in the Philippines versus like later childhood in the States?
It's wild because when I was growing up in the Philippines, like I was allowed to be flamboyant and gay, and yeah, your cousins or your uncles would like tease you, whatever. I think we get that, but it was never like a bad thing that was flamboyant. It was never like said, oh, you can't act that way, like you can't be bakla or whatever. Bakla is like gay. Um, and then when I moved to the United States, and then I was like still sort of like that flamboyant person, I came I came here just right before the 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember wearing like denim cutoffs and like a sweater and like I not like the most masculine, but also I was 12, so I don't know, but I think I still acted very flamboyant, and I like learned very quickly that that was not okay.
Even
Like
in Seattle?
yeah, even in Seattle, like it was a smaller city called Linwood, but I remember the stares and the looks, also because I was like fresh off the boat,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like new, and so I think there was like a lot of like eyes on me, and then I quickly found out that like being what I was allowed to be growing up in the Philippines, being gay and flamboyant, was not allowed here. So I quickly tried to be like, one of the boys. Like I
Yeah.
tried to be straight. I dated
Uh-huh.
girls. I dress appropriately to like be with the cool kids or whatever, and I just try to adapt
Mm-hmm.
because adapting was survival.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like I became friends with people like myself in junior year when I start to become more confident about being that person I was once younger in the Philippines, being so comfortable in that skin,
Mm-hmm.
had to like suppress it and hide it because it wasn't okay for a few years, and then finally meeting people like me that really like gave me the courage and the bravery to like live my true authentic self. And that was like junior year, and I finally like came out and said, that I'm gay. Some people were like, duh, and some people were like, are you? Um and I was like, yes, very much so. And I have a lot of those people in that period of my life to really thank, to like help me
Mm-hmm.
continue to be proud, or like be able to be proud of who I am. And junior year in high school back in like 1999, that's wild,
Yeah.
you know?
Were those your friends that were in the rave scene?
Oh my God. I know what's coming. So yes, I did meet a lot of people in the rave scene that were really truly incredible, that really like helped me become more comfortable.
How did you get into the rave scene? What was your
Um
entry to that? Because just I think you said it was around like 15 or so.
yeah, I was like 15, 16, and then I just like met some people, and they were like, we're going to this party, and then the party became like, the party was actually like these big raves in Seattle in warehouses, and then I would just sort of follow these people until I found a good group of those people that I became friends with, and we would just like party. So I would go to high school, and then at the time, junior year and senior year, I would go to college for like this program where you can get college credits and your high school credits. And then I would just like try and maneuver the party scene with my high school life, with
Mm-hmm.
college courses, and also working at the mall. And then it ended up just being too much because I
Mm-hmm.
was doing too much. And when I say too much, what do you have there?
I don't have anything for you.
Okay.
No pictures of you
Okay.
throwing up at a random rave in a warehouse or
There was
anything
this
like
one
that.
picture of me that I remember. I don't know if I can find it for you, but I probably shouldn't even expose it. But I was like so high on ecstasy, and I was like, I think my eyes were like here. I'm just like,
Oh
anyway,
my gosh.
edit that out. I didn't do drugs.
No. It's because the old you though. It was the 90s.
It was the 90s, and I was
Nothing counted
young.
in the 90s.
No, nothing. I remember when I did acid at a rave once, and
I love how you're like I don't do drugs, and you're like, well, here's all the drugs I did do though.
back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't do that now. My back couldn't handle it. But uh I remember taking acid at a rave and I was having such a good time and all of a sudden it turned really sour. Like my high turned really sour and I started seeing like Smurf dancing all around me and they were attacking me. Anyway, it was awful. They weren't Smurfs, but you know what I mean.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It was acid. You guys don't do acid.
We started dressing up at the raves. When did that lead you to actually performing in drag? Or how did that lead to that?
I think I was always a performer in nature, but I didn't start performing until I lived in New York City, where I worked at Lucky Chang's and I was like um, the server for, because as drag queens, you serve food to the dinner guests. And that's where I would perform with like Lady Bunny and Laverne Cox and like all other like amazing drag entertainers. And but they were like, "Oh, you're not gonna perform at dinner. You're gonna host karaoke at like midnight when the drunk fools come in and want to sing karaoke." I was like, "Okay, cool." So I kind of took that as like a place to like perform while hosting karaoke, but I didn't actually perform on stage until I moved to LA and I met Nacho, who used to have May You Rest in Peace, where I went to his party called Mustache Mondays, and I was watching all the amazing drag entertainers. And then he was like, "Do you want to perform one day?" And I was like, "Me?" Because, you know, I would just go out and dress up and have a good time and drink and be with friends, whatever. And so I performed. I remember performing Listen by Beyonce, and I had that speaker with the Barbie as a headpiece, and I had like speakers all around me. But yeah, that was like my very first performance, and I did it for free. And I did free performances for a while until I started getting paid, you know, $40, $50. So yeah, I think I wasn't on stage until like 2008, which was amazing.
It's kind of crazy that the restaurant you worked in New York, was it kind of like a Hamburger Mary's kind of thing, or?
Yes, it was like a Hamburger Mary's, but the bartenders, the hosts, the servers, and the performers were all drag queens and trans women in drag. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's mentioned trans women in drag, so you say Laverne Cox. Like you worked at a restaurant with way pre-fame Laverne Cox.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy. Is it weird seeing her as big as she is now?
It's not
and
weird.
knowing that like I used to wait tables with that person.
Yeah, it's not weird. She never waited tables. She was one of the entertainers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was.
She didn't dirty her hand with that peasant
No,
part.
I
Yeah.
did
You were the laborer.
dirty work. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But no, and I never like I see her now, and it's just like, you know, such a proud moment in just general. Like we're not like we're friendly, we know each other, but every time I see her doing just the absolute best, it's just like, oh, I know her, you know, or we had experiences together. I don't know. It's kind of like just sweet, I think.
Something you talked about very openly on the show was your status being positive with HIV. When did you realize that? I'm trying to think how to word this most sensitively.
Oh, that's okay.
Like,
I've been asked this question 100
Yeah.
times in 100 different ways, so
Yeah.
you couldn't offend me.
when did you discover that? Where were you at in your life when you got that diagnosis?
I was in New York City. I was working at a
This is pre-LA.
Yeah. So I got sick. I went to a doctor. He thought it was the flu. He said, go home, flu medicine. And I woke up the next morning and I said, this doesn't feel right, especially because I had had unprotected sex with someone just like a couple weeks prior. And then a couple months prior to that, I had tested negative because I do a routine check because I was a little hoe. And then I didn't have sex with anybody until that person that I met. So when that person said they were negative, we had unprotected sex. Trusting a stranger obviously is never a good idea, but now with science and the evolution of the medication, it's nearly impossible for me to share my HIV status to anyone because I am undetected. So undetectable means untransmittable. But anyway, at the time, I was working at a retail store, and that morning, I didn't feel right, so I made an appointment with the LGBTQ Center in Chelsea. And I said, you know, I think something is weird. I've been told that it's just a flu, but I don't think so. I really want a PCR test and like all these other tests because I think I have HIV. And they're like, how do you know so much about it? And I was like, Google. And also because I feel really bad. I had a rash too. Like it was like weird. It was like not all over my body, but not all over my body, but there was like certain parts of my body that had like rashes. And then so I got tested, and then I think it was 2 days after I went back to work again, and they were like, "Oh, you need to come see us." And I was like, "Can you just tell me over the phone? I'm at work, like I can't take off." And they're like, "No, you have to come see us." And then at that time, I sort of like knew. And then I told my friend at the time, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna take a lunch break because I have to go somewhere." They're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be fine." Like he knew, like because I was already sort of telling him the story. And he's like, "Is this what the appointment?" And I was like, "Yes," because no one else really knew. So then I had a positive test result come back. They were really great. They like talked through my options, my medication, and I said, "Yes, I want to start everything right away. Whatever you say, I do." Because I want to stay healthy. And at the time, I didn't really know anybody else that was positive. I was only Googling things about it to keep myself healthy and, figure out the best way to continue my life with this being new to me at the time. And I went back and I remember my best friend like standing at the doorway, just a little bit, behind the doorway. It's like, so, and I just like bawled and like collapsed like in his hand, like in his arms because it came back positive and I wasn't ready. And I don't know if anyone is ever ready for that kind of diagnosis. At the time back in, when I found out, 2006 is a different time than it is now. So many advances now, 20 years later, 20, or so. But from my diagnosis, like almost 20 years later. So it was just like a scary part of my life. For 7 months, I was really depressed. 6, 7 months, I was depressed. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know like how to cope or like how to even like continue. And I think one day I just sort of like turned the switch back on and said, I am in control of this, and me, myself, and I. So I am the one that could turn this around and no one else can. Because what I found out was I had the same support, the same love, the same friendships. Those never change, and the status shouldn't change that either. So I kept like just living my life. And then fast forward, I got on Drag Race and I won Mac Viva Glam. And it was so amazing because of what they do for people that have HIV and AIDS and the money they donate to help the cause. And that when I won it, I just felt so close to it because I am
It's
living.
almost like full circle for you.
Yeah. And I just broke down and cried and came out with my status. And it wasn't rehearsed or it wasn't thought about. It's just like I was really just thankful that it was recognized when I say life is a celebration. And I know this was like a little reality TV show that we didn't know was going to be as big as it is. But when I was recognized for that ad campaign that I did for Mac Viva Glam, is because it was the honest truth of my living. Like I was literally just living my life and celebrating it despite having HIV or finding out, that I have it. And I just and when they said I'd won, I was just like in my mind, I was like, "Oh, thank you." Like this has been very hard few years, but you're recognizing this as something that is no longer a negative thing. And then from there, it became, this big thing where people would share their stories with me. And so while I didn't have someone to go through it at the time when I was diagnosed, I'm happy to be that someone for someone else. And that's kind of what became of me coming out of my status. And a platform I never wished for or a platform I never intended to create, but I'm happy to take it on and like help people as much as I can. So I always try and like share my story, because my even though the biggest point of my story is like to help people not get it through the mistakes that I made in my life choices, people still do. And so to at least I hope to at least be able to help those people going through it the same way that I did, and people that are going through it, or was already going through it, that's not brave enough to like live and celebrate their life because of it. So there's so many like just different emotions and things with doing that, but I'm, you know, I'm happy that I did, because it not only helped others, but it helped me. Like when I said that out loud, like I felt free, like I felt lighter, and I felt like weight was lifted off my shoulders, because I was no longer like keeping that a secret. And there was always like, this internal stigma of like that I experienced from myself, and then the stigma from others, and it's just like it's a lot.
Yeah.
And so now that I'm open and free and able to talk about it, it just helps me just live freely, I guess.
Yeah. I was gonna ask what it felt like saying that out loud, especially on such like a big platform, which obviously Drag Race wasn't as big as it is now, but it still was a public platform. And prior to that, like there wasn't like a lot of people that had been open about their statuses like that.
Yeah.
I think one of the earliest ones was only a few years prior on like The Real World.
Yeah,
There was a
Pedro in the
contestant.
real world, and I get goosebumps every time I like remember his story. But at the time when I said it, like you can hear a pin drop in the studio. It was wild. And then everyone just like came up to me and like comforted me. And I still remember one of the wildest thing that happened was that when we went back to the hotel room, the producers came into my room and was like, "We don't have to use it if you don't want to. It's a lot, but they wanted to use it. But if it's okay with you, it's like it's an amazing like shot or whatever, right? It will be like at the time I was like scared, because I was like shit, because my parents didn't know. So I was like, well, shit, I just said that out loud. And I have told my parents I'm going to be on TV show. And, like Filipino parents are always proud when their like children are either nurses or doctors or television stars. It's like, so they were like, oh, you're going to be on TV. So I was like, yes. So I knew they were going to watch. And so I think that was my biggest fear. I didn't really care anymore about strangers, because at that point I was like, if either you like me for me or you don't. Like I'm, whatever. But it was my mom and like my dad. So, but yeah, at that time when I said it literally out loud, like it was like the most quiet the studio has ever been. And then everyone was comforting me. Even like Rue comforted me, as you saw. But yeah, and everyone was like crying, and I don't know, it just like felt good to say it out loud, because I just felt freedom. I actually, for that episode, I had invited my closest friends in LA to come watch it in my my house at the time, and like I was just anticipating it, because I didn't know how they edited it. Like I don't know. Drag Race be editing crazy shit. But I don't think they could have done anything to make that any more true than it was. And
Can you
so,
imagine like if you said that and they put like some trombone sound effect or something
can
on
you
it?
imagine? But I just remember being with like the most beautiful people and my friends at the time, and then like watching that together. It felt even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you quit drag.
And then I quit drag, and now I'm a visual merchandiser.
Yeah. So like this long journey you've been on, like what do you have plans for the future? Like what's coming up? Do you expect to continue doing drag forever? Is it on the hiatus? Is visual merchandising just the forever plan?
So for now, the forever plan is to be the director of visual merchandising for this company that I work for, which I actually really love. It's so wild because I have worked retail many places before. Have you worked retail before? Like actual clothing?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. And you know, there's some really awful places to work for. And I truly love where I work, which is great. The people, the product, just the team, and what I do to be creative. So it's just like a little different creativity, but it's still like fun. And on the side, I shouldn't say never, but I'm not going to quit drag completely just yet because I truly freaking love it. Like, drag is so fun. Like, do you still enjoy being a drag queen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On shows.
You say that like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I still do it.
But you don't perform as much anymore.
Not as much, no.
Yeah. I mean, you never really did.
I did like some shows like back home and stuff. For me, it was a lot more like the socialization, the party aspect, making fun little shows for people.
Yeah.
Like entertaining friends. Honestly, it was actually by doing Drag Race that I kind of lost some of the love of like performing. Only because like now like I've been on the show. If I go to a show, I feel like people come out not because they want to see a drag show and drag performance, but because they want to see someone they saw on TV.
Yes.
They just want to see like a D-list celebrity. And
Yes.
they just want a video to send to Snapchat their friend or to
D-list.
post on. Yeah, it is what it is. Or they just want like a video to post on their Instagram story.
Yes.
And I don't know, it's like I lost some of the love for it just because I feel like the audience lost the love for it.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll come back.
Yeah.
But for now, that's why I really enjoy doing this. Like I actually enjoy getting to know people and like their stories and fleshing out a three-dimensional character of what we saw on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. Drag audiences has changed over time with me, especially having done it for so many years. But when I do, thankfully though, for me, when I still do shows locally or if I travel, there's always going to be like a more than a handful of people that really truly go there for the drag because I see the way they interact with like the local queens and then the queens that they see all the time. And the obviously for them, the added bonus is like seeing that person from television, which is nice, which I'm part of, so I'm not blind to that. But thankfully, like I still see some of those people come for the passion of seeing people perform versus like, ooh, who's on the flyer today? Maybe I'll go because I like her, or maybe I'll go because, she was in this season, where before you just went because, like you said, they love drag and they wanted to see the entirety of the performance.
Yeah.
Where some of the audience member now only there because they really do want an Instagram selfie with the person on TV.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. It's weird because I feel like I haven't changed like as a person, but I feel like the scene around it has changed, and it's like, how do I fit into this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You can tell by certain cities too. Like I love small towns more than anything. People are always excited. They just like love to have something different and new and see something.
Those are both. You get both of the ones that loved you from TV and both the ones that love you because truly they love drag.
Yeah.
And the smaller towns are always the best because they like give you their undivided attention. They really do love when you get to like bigger cities. But then you found this too. Like, I never thought of you much of a host, but here you are doing that. Just kidding. No, and actually, when you first came out with this, I forgot who were your first. Who was your first guest?
Lady Camden.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you came out with this and the name was "Give It to Me Straight," I was like, very smart. Very smart because very smart. It's good. And then now, as I'm a consumer of your product, it's truly funny.
Yeah.
And you're stupid when you fucking find all this shit about other people.
And I'm gonna go buy some fragrance that I can't pronounce, so I'll be a consumer of your product as well.
Yeah, yay.
Yeah.
You can smell like an angina.
Yeah.
Just kidding. It's like Wilhelm something. I forget what the last name is, but it's very nice. Yeah. It's called I don't even know the fragrance, like the scent. Anyway, it's morning something.
Yeah.
You can just Google it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's crazy though that like this crazy journey you went on. You travel around across the country doing drag, the rave scene, Drag Race, this huge platform, and a lot of that was almost like a side quest for you, because like
I would
deviation from the
say
path.
I've had a very three-dimensional life, and it's I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but like I'm so happy all of those experiences happened to me. And now, coming to terms with the fact that like Ongina might not be as popular, and because I am a very business savvy woman, I know the realistic thing that happens when you feel like your drag is not as important as others because you're not getting booked as others. But what you have to always remember is to sort of like center yourself. Especially with me, I centered myself knowing that I can offer that or this and still be happy. But I'm not gonna lie and say that it wasn't depressing when I finally made the decision to go back to retail in July last year, because I am truly happy with being a drag queen full time. But financially, at the time, I just needed something a little bit more steady.
Yeah.
And this is steady.
You still get to have it like as a passion, but to have it to be like your main focus, it's having to leave it behind and move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not quite there yet with the leaving behind, so you'll see me pop up at a local brunch very soon, very near
Of
you.
course, yeah.
Yeah,
But as far as like it's not like the main focus, like you realize that like this is something that is chapter that is kind of not the main focus anymore.
Yes.
It's not the journey moving forward.
Yeah. And when you say, well, like, other girls don't have the option, it's like I'm truly privileged to be able to say, maybe one day I'll go back to drag if they have like All Star Seniors Edition, like I don't know. How would that be? That would be fun. People in like canes and walkers and stuff.
On geriatric.
On geriatric. That would be my new name. Oh my God.
Just coming in and bald head and a walker.
Well, I have a question for you.
Tennis balls.
Since you were part of the Drag Race universe, like what do you think is gonna happen with Drag Race eventually?
I honestly, I think drag is still. I think Drag Race is at like its most popular it's ever been numbers wise. But I don't know, because like there's more than just Drag Race itself. There's also like the political climate and stuff. I think drag has become like a commercial product. I think a lot of the appeal of drag was that it was counterculture. But now, and that's why people were going out to shows and stuff. But I think now that it's become pop culture, you're starting to see less people going to shows, and girls aren't making as much money. I think Drag Race might still keep going on, but I think a lot of like the drag shows are slowly gonna drift back into what they were before, just kind of come see your local girls.
Yeah.
Why are they gonna pay thousands of dollars for some TV personality when it's not bringing in the same number of people?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe it'll keep going, and maybe the level it's at right now is what it's gonna be, and some girls just rise to the top and get big bookings, but I don't know. But on that note, that's the last of my cards, the last bit of time we have. But before you go, I did want to give you something. As we mentioned, you are not quitting drag just yet.
No.
And with your drag, the Bald Queen, you are also aficionado, a lover of little hats, little pieces. And, with me being from Arkansas, I wanted to give you something that kind of resonates with where I'm from, but also meets you where you're at. And I want to get you this tiny little topper hat. I made it myself. When I say made it, I put feathers in it.
Wait, this is super cute.
A little cowboy hat for you.
Wait, where's this? This is cute.
It kind of goes with this fit a little bit.
I love it.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm going to the Beyonce concert. Maybe I'll wear it.
There you are.
A little cowboy Carter moment.
Yeah.
This is cute. Thank you.
To add to your little
it's gonna be on
of an apartment.
I have a shelf of like presents from people and stuff, and I'm not putting that one there. I'm just kidding.
You're putting it with all the other fan mail.
Actually, I'm working on my drag wall where I'm framing all of like the drag art. Not all, because that would be expensive. I've been around a long time, so there's a lot of art, whether I like it or not. Yeah. But I'm framing them, putting them like in this hallway leading into my drag room. It's kind of like a memorial.
Memorial. You just go through every now and then, just run your fingers through all these wet seal dresses, just remembering the good old days.
Oh my God. I don't think I have anything left. I think I got rid of all of them because I'm no longer a size 0, so those don't fit no more. But I still do have my
A couple stretch dresses still.
yeah. No, I have my newspaper bubble dress from the reunion of my season. I still have that. That one fits because it's a lace up. So even though it doesn't close when it's laced up,
Yeah.
I
A couple archive pieces.
yeah, maybe
Yeah.
I'll put it on a bus form and be on my memorial of Ongina hallway. But yeah, but I'm gonna add this to there. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
of
love
course.
that.
So, but, as we mentioned, you're not quitting drag necessarily.
No.
You know, but you still have a couple shows coming up. Are you doing like any tours, any traveling gigs or anything? Is it mostly just performing around SoCal?
Yeah, it's SoCal. So I think the best way to find me is my Instagram, Ongina, and Twitter is the same or whatever. But like, who uses that platform anymore? But I'm Ongina everywhere. But I usually will post there if I'm working. But it's transitioned to a different point of view, and Drag Race fans love drag. So if you're not doing drag on your Instagram, they're not gonna stick around.
Yeah, unless you're Cameron Michaels.
Yeah. Well.
I think Cameron Michaels got more followers when she stopped doing drag.
Yeah. Oh my God.
People thirsty.
She and I are really good friends on Instagram. Is that no? We're good friends. We always talk on Instagram. But it's just wild to see that like they came for Ongina, but when you post off Gina stuff, they're like, "What is this? I don't want to see your fashion. I don't want to see what you wore today to work." And it's like, but it's really cute. You should stay and look at it. So yeah, find me there.
Yeah, but the people that follow you, they're the real ones though. They want to see like the real you, and they like the three-dimensional human being outside of drag. Other people want to see like what expensive dress you bought.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I can't be a plastic tiara. Like she's, incredible with all of her social posts, and like I don't have money to create all that AI stuff. I'm on a season one. I'm on a season 1 budget, and forever will be. So.
Yeah. Well, that's where you guys can find her. You can find me right here. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any future guests. And join us next time when we have somebody else. Till then, bye guys.
Bye.